Your Excellency, these vellum copies have the consent of the Speaker of the Houses of Parliament to present these vellum copies before you for your assent. This bill, Your Excellency, is the first bill to anchor the resolutions of the Houses of Parliament with respect to the NADCO report. You recall, Your Excellency, the NADCO report was the Houses of Parliament adopted the report, both of them, and thereafter the attendant bills were published. The first one being the IEBC Amendment Bill, which was initially introduced and passed by in the National Assembly, a roadmap to the formation of the IEBC. It commences with the IEBC selection panel, which will now comprise of 9 persons who are to be nominated. There's 1 person to be nominated by the ICPAC and 2 persons to be nominated by the Interreligious Council. The bodies which are nominating more than 2 persons, Your Excellency, are required to also observe the 2/3 gender rule so as to ensure that the completeness of the panel observes the 2/3 gender rule as required under our Constitution.
Order statute. Come here. Former Prime Minister, the former Vice President,
to Bomas, because during the presentations, Kimani and Cheruiyot may remember,
does know how to come together in the best interest.
It has been arranged to take place here at KICC.
That makes sure that we address the existential
a new IEBC, but also buttresses the importance of.
We have yet another opportunity as a country. Kenya being
it is expected of us to even
the leadership of Parliament, both on the majority and minority sides, going forward on a broad-based political committee to work and audit
that principle of consultation.
Almighty God, we give you thanks for many and varied ways you built up a nation. And through this gathering, you have revealed your glory to all of us as a people of Kenya. God of power and might, wisdom and justice, through you authority is rightly administered. Laws are enacted like the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill 2024 that is being ascended into law today, and judgment is decreed. Assist with your spirit of counsel, fortitude and good health to our President and all those who help him to lead our nation onto the path of national renewal and transformation, especially at this special time in our nation, that his administration may be conducted in righteousness and be eminently useful to your people over whom he presides.
this state ceremony is convened pursuant to Article 115 of the Constitution for the presidential assent of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024. The bill was considered and passed by both houses of Parliament, with the Senate granting its seal of approval on 17th June 2024, followed by the National Assembly on 20th June 2024. The bill establishes a roadmap for kick-starting the process of recruitment of the chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Additionally, the bill expands the criteria for eligibility to serve as members of the Commission by adding expertise in accounting or information and communication technology to the existing professional qualification, which include electoral affairs, management, finance, governance, public administration, and law. Your Excellency, with both houses of Parliament having discharged their lawmaking mandate, Your Excellency, as the head of state and government, is most graciously invited to exercise your presidential prerogative as vested in you by Article 115 of the Constitution to assent to this legislation.
Your Excellency, your assent to the IEBC Amendment Bill, being the first of the National Dialogue Committee report bills, one of the 9 bills, Your Excellency, marks the beginning of a very important process to our country in the reconstitution of a new IEBC Commission. Your Excellency, let me take this opportunity to assure you and the country that all the other 8 bills that emanated from the NADCO report are in process in both houses. We had divided the bill between the 2 houses of Parliament, and I want to give all of you assurances of both houses that we shall expedite in the processing of these bills with top priority. Your Excellency, in conclusion, let me just say that this assent of this bill not only marks a hallmark in our nation's endeavor to reconstitute a new IEBC, but also buttresses the importance of dialogue in our country, because these bills have emanated from a process where we all came together as a country to dialogue, and through dialogue we've been able to surmount most of the challenges that faced our country at the time we came together as NADCO. And I am certain, Your Excellency, even now and moving forward, this signifies that new move that through dialogue we can talk to each other and be able to surmount all the challenges that bedevil our country.
The constitution of the IEBC is a great step for our democracy. I want to thank you for the leadership that you have accorded this country in difficult times, and you are acceding to have the report that was bipartisan is a great step in the right direction in this country. In the situation we are in, we want to call upon the people of Kenya that violence begets violence. Now that the president has accepted to have a discussion with our young population, with our leaders, we call upon the people of Kenya to give dialogue a chance, to give consultation a chance, get off the streets, stay away from destruction of property, because Kenya is greater than all of us. And I think, Your Excellency, you have the capacity to lead us in that direction, where there is consultation and all Kenyans are able to agree on the way forward. The constitution of the IEBC is a great step for our democracy. I want to thank you for the leadership that you have accorded this country in difficult times, and you are acceding to have the report that was bipartisan is a great step in the right direction in this country. In the situation we are in, we want to call upon the people of Kenya that violence begets violence. Now that the president has accepted to have a discussion with our young population, with our leaders, we call upon the people of Kenya to give dialogue a chance, to give consultation a chance, get off the streets, stay away from destruction of property, because Kenya is greater than all of us. And I think, Your Excellency, you have the capacity to lead us in that direction, where there is consultation and all Kenyans are able to agree on the way forward.
What we are doing today is a culmination of a process that began sometime last year when President Olusegun Obasanjo came to mediate and the conflict that was raging on at that time. We agreed when we sat together, myself and Brother Raila-Ruto, that we would follow the route of dialogue. And that is the reason why NADCO was set up. NADCO then proceeded to dialogue and ended up with a very voluminous report which has contained some very fundamental recommendations. This bill that has now been signed into the law today is just one of those. But the NADCO report contains very many issues which are at the heart of the people of Kenya today. If you see the issues which are being raised by our youth, most of them are actually contained in the NADCO report. But if this NADCO report is implemented fully, you'll be able to address all those issues which these young people are raising. We are, as I've said, at a very, very crucial juncture in the history of our country. Our country has moved forward. There have been highs and lows in our history of 61 years. We needed to move forward. And I want to say that, at this moment in time, my brother, that we require now a wider engagement so that people have an opportunity to vomit all that is there in their chest in order that we can be able to find a way forward. I therefore want to support the proposal of my brother Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka that we have this conversation. It may not take more than 2 weeks, but it brings all the stakeholders together. Today, our society is fairly stratified. Nearly 70% of our population is below the age of 35, the youth. If you say that between 35 and 18 constitute about 40%, we need that 40% to be present when this dialogue is taking place. And then the rest can fill the rest. And then we just talk about the Kenya we want. The Kenya we want convention. Out of that will come out recommendations that will help us to resolve this issue once and for all. And that will be my proposal, Your Excellency. I think that Kenya deserves better. The issues of employment, the issues of discrimination, the issues of corruption, the issues of gender, and so on, are issues that need to be addressed in a wider forum.
I am very confident that, as always, Kenya knows how to pull together, and leaders know how to come together in the best interest, not of individuals, not of parties, but the collective body of the Kenyan people. And I look forward to working with leaders, as I have said. Going forward, on a broad-based political mechanism that will see us steer the country to the future. The signing of this bill paves way for the establishment of the selection panel for the appointment of IEBC commissioners. The IEBC remains a cornerstone of our democracy, responsible for overseeing regular elections at various levels, and on the overall, ensuring that our electoral cycle is managed transparently and administered in an impartial, neutral, efficient, accurate, and accountable manner. I concur with leaders who have said there must be professionalism and integrity as part of the cardinal principles of the men and women who will be charged with the responsibility of overseeing our elections. The spirit of NASTCO is the spirit of unity, bipartisanship, and consensus building, values which have helped our nation overcome its most challenging moments. Even as I assent to this bill, I look forward to supporting and facilitating any other outputs of the national consensus that was NATCO to ensure that Kenya moves forward and with as many hands on deck as is possible. The leadership of Parliament, both on the majority and minority sides, have heard what the leaders here have said, and they should proceed with dispatch and expedite the other recommendations that are contained in the NATCO report and process the necessary bills and interventions that are necessary for us to actualize the output of that report. The National Dialogue Committee, established last year, resulted from the closing of ranks across the political divide to forge consensus on a number of priority national issues, including the reconstitution of the IEBC. Today's assent of the IEBC Amendment Bill therefore marks a significant step in the actualization of one of the recommendations of NATCO and testifies to our country's ability to navigate difficult, complex, and sometimes divisive issues that could undermine our national cohesion, undermine our stability and security if we leave it unattended. As a way of charting the future from the current situation we are facing, I welcome all the leaders here, and I have heard what they have said this morning, and all other stakeholders, working together for us to address the current economic situation through a broad-based political arrangement and to rally the country forward, as has been said by the former Prime Minister. And therefore, we have yet another opportunity as a country, Kenya being the resilient people we always are, to come together and figure out the future of our country in a manner that makes sure that we address the existential challenges and threats that face our nation. And that's the reason why I set up a committee to work and audit our debt, for us to interrogate our expenditure, and for us to work on anti-corruption. I want to encourage Parliament to expedite the conflict of interest bill that will support our anti-corruption measures, especially in relation to public officers. And I am hopeful that these are some of the conversations that we will be engaged in going forward. Beyond NATCO, we are currently engaged in discussions as a country about our economy. As we know, the country has faced a series of economic shocks, including COVID-19 pandemic, globally high interest rates, and devastating droughts and floods, events which have impacted negatively on our economy. and our capacity to secure resources for development and to also meet our debt service obligations. In the last 2 years, we have put in our best efforts to mobilize domestic and external resources to accelerate our economic program, pull the country back from the danger of debt distress, and set us on a path of economic transformation. These efforts have strengthened the Kenya shilling, reduced fuel prices at the pump, and lowered the cost of living, including the cost of essential household commodities. This year, my administration presented revenue-raising measures through the Finance Bill 2024, which were aimed at not only consolidating the economic recovery program, but also propelling the country to the next phase of investing in key social and economic infrastructure projects to advance our development agenda and reduce on our debt burden. However, many voices expressed disapproval of these proposals, leading me to drop the bill and terminate the process. It therefore means that apart from the people of Kenya asking us to consider alternative means of raising revenue, which I agree with, there is general consensus that the country requires to confront and address long-standing priority national issues, including national debt, public expenditure, and anti-corruption measures, so as to release resources for creating opportunities, creating jobs, and creating wealth. We have subsequently had consultations of working on the issues that are of priority. Representatives of various stakeholders. This forum will begin on Monday and will propose the way forward. In the interest of making sure that we live within our means, all
confirm that we have had consultations, and after extensive consultations, we have agreed out of the crisis that we're having today in our country. Because of restrictions of resources or limitation of resources,